Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Cartagena. So the aim of the game of Cartagena is to get your pirates from the prison into the boat. In order to do that, you're going to play cards out of your hand. You start with a hand of 6 cards and you have 6 pirates. If I were to play this card, I would move one of my pirates, let's say that's the red guy, to the first one of that symbol, which is just there. If I am able to play another one of those, I can then move one of my pirates to the first one of that symbol, which is just there. You can see how if I have quite a few of them, I could get guys into the boat relatively quickly. So on my turn, I have 3 things I can do. I've just done 2 of the things that I could do. I could use one of these cards to move one of these guys forward again. I don't have to move out of there. I could move either of these guys, that's fine. Or I could go, oh, I really want to get some more cards. The way I will get more cards is by moving backwards. So let's imagine that's what the board looks like. If this guy moves back to here, I would get 1 more card into my hand. If I happen to have a guy further up, and he moved backwards now, he's moving back to a spot with 2 guys. So I would get 2 cards into my hand. If this guy wishes to move backwards, he can't actually stop here because each spot has a maximum space of 3 people. So this guy, if he moved backwards, would actually move back to here and would only get 1 card. The winner of the game is the first person to get all of their guys, all 6 guys, into the boat. And that is the basics of Cartagena. However, there is a second version. This version is played just the same, except instead of coming from a jail, you're coming from a sinking boat and you're trying to get to the other side of the Tortuga Island. Playing cards and moving forward and backwards exactly the same as you do in the jail cell. Now what you're also able to do is join those 2 games together. The way that this works is that you can, as one of your 3 movements, move the boat. If there's nothing in the boat obviously can't move. If the boat is there and there's nothing in the boat and you have guys, so pretend you're blue, you can use one of your movements to move the boat back. To move into the boat, and this is the same in the base game as in this version, all you need to do is play a card that there is no symbol for in front of you. So theoretically, if blue was to play that card, there aren't any of them showing in front of him. The first one that we can see is this one back here. So blue could move from there to the boat. There is a maximum number of 3 of your color, which means that the boat could look like that. It's absolutely fine because there's a maximum of 3 of any one color. If that's what the boat looks like, blue has the majority in the boat, which makes blue the captain. So instead of it costing one of his 3 turns, what he's allowed to do is at the beginning of his go, he can just move the boat because he's the captain, and then he plays cards out of his hand, just like normal, to move onto the island. So if he were to move all 3 guys out, on green's turn, green is not the captain because he's got the same number as red, so no one's the captain. So green would probably either spend 1 action to come back, and then he could put another green one in, suddenly he's the captain. Or he could use cards to get those 2 guys out of the boat and then come back over to pick up some more guys. That is the basics of this game. However, there are a couple of different elements or expansion elements that can be included. The first element that can be included is called the Morgan. What it allows you to do is when you're taking more cards, rather than just moving your guy backwards to the spot, and depending on how many people are on that spot, that's how many cards you get, you could move an opponent forward. Let's say it's red's turn. Red can move that guy forward 1 to get 1 more card. He could then move that guy forward 1 to get 2 more cards. Now, usage of the Morgan rule, you could say at the beginning of the game, we're only going to use it in the underground section, or we're only going to use it on the island outside, or we're going to use it all the time. It can be combined, can be not combined. It is entirely up to you, but make the decision before you start playing. The second rule is the filibuster rule. So The filibuster rule says that you can have a hand of 7 cards. Currently this player has 10 cards. So that's illegal, but these guys are pirates, so he doesn't care. Now, how does the filibuster actually happen in that case? This card. There are a number of cards in the deck that have this black background. When one of these cards is played, you play it as normal, so that's red playing that. He'll move one of his red guys forward onto a treasure chest. Each of the other players then has to discard down to 7 cards. It's up to them which cards they get rid of, but they must discard down to 7 cards. The person who played that one doesn't have to do that. And the third element is called the Black Magic Woman. With the Black Magic Woman, you are able to say Black Magic Woman when you move forward. So when you take a spot, you move there, say Black Magic Woman, and suddenly you would take the action. And so there's a different action for each of the different icons that's on there. The first one is the gun, which is where I've gone, and that allows you to look at an opponent's hand and take one of the cards of their choice. They then will get an extra card from the deck. So they're not losing any cards, but you're gaining a card of your choice. If you stop on the rum, that's buying everyone a drink. And what you do on this action is you draw as many cards as there are players plus 1. So if there's 3 players, we'll draw 4 cards. You have a look at those cards, you hang on to 2 of them, and then pass them, the leftover cards, to the next player. They keep 1, then the next player, they keep 1. If you were to stop on the lantern, you would draw 4 cards from the top of the deck, choose one of them to keep. You might keep that one. And then return them to the deck in whatever order you wish. So depending on where everyone's standing, what they're going to want to be trying to grab and not grab. So it's stacking the top of that deck. You can play 2 parrots. That allows you to call any other card type a single movement. So he's played 2 parrots, but he might call lantern. And that would then allow him to move a red one to the lantern. That only counts as 1 action, not 2. With the hook, you can play the hook and another card. That allows you to move 2 guys that are on the same space. So say Blue's playing that, he could move 2 guys to the revolver or gun. If he was really thinking, he probably wouldn't have played that with the hook. He would have played that with the hook, which will allow him to move 2 onto the boat, if assuming the boat's there. And the final one is the treasure chest. There are these tokens that sit on top of each treasure chest on the board. And what happens when you play a treasure chest, let's say for example it was Green that just played that, he moves to the first treasure chest, he opens that treasure chest, that now gives him 3 extra cards. Those 3 cards come into his hand. There is 1 empty treasure chest, and there is 1 treasure chest that has a snake. If you turn over the one that has the snake, you move backwards to the closest rum symbol. So let's imagine that that's where the guy was. He's pulled out a snake. That pulls him back to the closest rum symbol. If there's no rum symbols, once that opens, he goes right back to the beginning of the jail section or to the beginning of the other path, depending on which path that snake is actually on. I believe that is all that I need to let you know about. You can get playing with just the beginning bit or just the middle bit or all of them or some of them. It's entirely up to you which one to use of that game. Please go ahead and watch my gameplay to get a feel for how the game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.